everybody. Welcome back to my live stream, or, to this channel's live stream. But anyway, hopefully everyone is doing fine. Today is another live stream episode. Today we're going to be basically drawing the manga once more. Like I said last week, so we're staying on, plan, I'd say. So yeah, I made a poll in the chat because I wanted to, kind of ask questions because I don't know if people wait for the stream to start beforehand, so that's why I kind of give them a little something to do, something to answer basically before the stream starts. And also, hello, who's this beautiful dog? This is my dog. He's called Jackie. And he's here to kind of give you guys a little reminder to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. But yeah, he just so super cute. I love this dog. I love my dog so much. He looks like this most of the time. Well, not most of the time, but he looks just like a meme sometimes. Not in a bad way, just makes my day in general. But other than that though, I'm gonna remove the poll now because if you see on the chat, it kind of blocks what's going to be said, what's going on in real time. So I'm gonna end it, but just to let you guys know, you can basically kind of answer these questions next time if you're waiting. He looks like a bowling pin. A bowling pin? How so? Bowling pin. Wait a second. Bowling pin. I don't know, my dog looks really cute. Oh. Okay, I get it. Sorry, I was misunderstanding what a bowling pin. Because I suddenly forgot what a bowling pin looks like for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he does. Kind of. But he has huge ears though. He doesn't have these little super tiny ears. He has big ears. It's just they were kind of bent backwards into his head. But yeah, he's super cute. He's 2.5 years old now. He's getting pretty big, pretty fast. Kind of scary. I consider him my son. But other than that though, okay, let's get right started. So today I have some things to talk about instead of kind of just not having anything to talk about. I think planning out what I want to say in the stream would probably benefit a lot, because sometimes when you run out of things to talk about, it gets quiet fast, and especially if you're just going with the flow. Sometimes that works, but other times it doesn't. So yeah, today, then again, I just want to start off by saying, if you have not checked out the Yuki Endless Void, obviously go check that out. It's down in the description below. And if you have not checked out the animation as well, definitely go check that out as well, because I put in a lot of effort. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Today we're working on the Yuki's Endless Void page. I am very happy about accomplishing this page today because I added quite a lot of details, and I kind of focused on some expressions, and I thought this frame of Yuki was super cool, super well done for some reason. To me, it just looks so good. This page. Quiet. It's fun to just chill and draw either way. Yeah, I get that. It's just I guess when people come in, but then again, I guess I can't really satisfy every person that comes in the stream, but most of the time what happens is when I'm drawing, and if suddenly someone comes in, but at that moment I'm just quiet, they would most likely not be interested because they got into something that they literally do not know what's happening, and it's just quiet, I guess. And especially if people don't comment down below or anything like that. So that's why I like to talk. Because usually quiet streams don't get like much of the interaction. But then again, I think that's just my production brain talking and not my creative brain talking. Yeah, it is. It is quite hard to keep talking while drawing, but I don't think, you know, like, the people who don't draw can really understand that. So, you know, I kind of adapted this. You can't do it at all. Well, the thing is, if it was like an illustration, right, and I start off with just randomness, usually for me it's really hard to focus. But if it's like line art wise and I have to just trace my old sketches, like for instance right here, I usually can master that like right away, so I can like blabber on while subconsciously drawing. But yeah, it's definitely not easy. I think I started practicing since like 4 or 5 years ago, because I used to live stream while speaking. But I think the most distracting part is like looking at the chat constantly. If like there's like a lot of people and like the chat is going off like super fast, then I kind of give up on reading every single message. Because like that's too much. I can't like read every single message. Unless like I'm on a break or something, like it's time for a break and I just can take my time to read messages in the chat. But yeah, talking about chatting, I've been trying to have collaboration ideas with artists. I suppose I'm not the most, like, I'd say active on Instagram, which I think I should, but I also want to branch out here, so I'm gonna like probably spread the news here first. If like anyone that is like interested in art, or like just basically is an artist themselves and they have never really collaborated or like have collaborated, either way, like I'd be open to some ideas and do it for like a hobby. So it's not going to be like paid or anything like that. It's not going to be like a promotion, you know, to make an ad or something. It's just literally just for fun, and like sort of like practice, because sometimes I really like to see what an art can come out, especially from two different type of styles, with different artists. So yeah, obviously it's going to be usually digital, because traditional art, I think, especially if it's like a collaboration, it's going to probably take shipping, so obviously it's going to be digital art. But yeah, I think with traditional art, it can only be like OC exchange or something like that. It can't be like one piece of art with two different artists in that one piece, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I'm thinking about like collaborations and stuff, so definitely check it out. And also you can get like a shout out on the channel as well. That's cool. What kind of collabs have you like participated in? I collaborated within like digital art pieces, like an OC exchange basically, but digitalized. And didn't really collaborate like one digital art piece and it has like two artists within them. Not really. I have never really collaborated like that, because whenever I ask for a collaboration with the artist that I know on Instagram, they usually are too busy or just probably not the most interested, and or just like they are interested and we did agree on something, but they end up like kind of having to do something else. So I mean, I would get that, so I guess I don't judge, but you know, I really want to try to make like one digital art piece, but with two different art styles or artists working on that one single digital art piece, because I thought seeing those on the internet were like super cool. I sound like I have like a 2000s PC or something like that on the internet. Yeah. I don't know, but you get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm trying to say. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. But yeah. The thing about these streams is when I say something too early, or if I'm announcing things too early, usually the people who come in later on literally cannot hear this message, because I don't think a lot of people would want to roll back and start the whole stream again, because that's just kind of unlogical, but, you know. Yeah. Shared UC universes. Like, for instance, universes in, like, background. Like, your OC in something that I created is, like, the background of that. Like, let's say Yuki's Endless Void and your OC was here. And then it's this background, basically. It's this scenery, for instance. Is it something like that? And then, like, my OC can be the scenery, or, like, the story scenery that you made for your OC originally. Alrighty. Writing ways. We write characters together. Oh, so it's not a drawing then, I assume? It's not a drawing? It's like writing wise then? Or is it like writing a universe and then drawing it out with our OCs or something like that? I don't know. I never really heard of that kind of collaboration before, so I don't really understand. But yeah, talking about collaborations, I think the last collaborations that I had from a few years past, like 2 years or 1 year ago, yeah, I haven't had collabs for quite a while, was pretty fun. They also have to create their personality, background, so it's fun to do that. Oh, like creating like a whole new character and then creating their personality and background. Oh, like creating an OC with a friend? Huh. I see. Wait, can you explain how does that work? Like, example, because like I'm kind of curious. Is it like giving each other ideas for like a character or something? Yuki. Yuki kind of looks like a guy here. I want to make her eyes like a little bit bigger. I know this strand of hair should be like actually annoying in real life, because imagine a strand of hair just in front of you all the time. Like, sure, it looks edgy at some point, but it's quite annoying. It's a quite annoying like characteristic look to have. Oh, okay, I get the collaboration. I see. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that one before. I'd probably try that out probably in the future. Well, the thing is with character, because I'm trying to like challenge myself more on background wise also, because I actually also like want to work on the backgrounds of like sceneries and stuff. So probably that can be also added into the scenery as well. Like brainstorming basically the character and the scenery, which is pretty cool, instead of trying to draw separate OCs that are already existing. But yeah, okay. I guess I'll think about it if I have any ideas. It's really not anything new. I didn't know that. I didn't know how that's production. Like, I didn't know that's how it worked. I thought the artist would think of something and then they would agree and go through with it, and then, you know, if they think it's a good idea, then they would go through with it. So I didn't really understand that. Like different departments basically. Talking about departments, this one time I was searching for like a 3D art class, and I think I almost got scammed because I saw the like, I guess, posters, or like those like sheets of paper basically you would try and promote and give out to people. They had AI on the 2D promotion paper one, and then they had 3D stuff, but it felt like it was copied off of someone else's work online. So I searched it, and it was kind of creepy. Like, not creepy, just it was kind of scary to realize that I almost got scammed, because what they do is that they tell you that to use this website for a payment method to add in your credit card, and like you can pay like a small amount at a time, so you don't have to pay like all of the tuition fee, and then basically it would make you have debt, and then it's like a gangster, it ends up being like a gangster authorized website. So then, you know, they would have your personal information, and you'd be in debt, and you'd still have to pay for the tuition if anything happened to the school, and it's really scary. Yeah, no, that's why people don't make the whole shows alone. There's a chance to work with a team. Yeah, exactly. I I understand like it has to have a team. It's just I didn't really understand like how they settled on the idea. I always thought like the artist made an idea, like a rough sketch, and then refined it and then show it to the team, and the team approves, and then they go through with it with their own departments. But yeah, because you can bounce off ideas from each other. Exactly. I'd agree with that. But like, what if the artist like was persistent with their idea? That would kind of create a conflict. Like, trying to find middle ground is also quite crucial. So I'm kind of curious on how they deal with that kind of problem. But usually whenever I think there was a time where I had to make a project idea with someone as well. It was like, this is in fashion design class, but usually we would agree on something that is middle ground. People can compromise, exactly, like middle ground. But like, especially if the people doesn't want to settle for middle ground, then that would be a little bit of a problem. But yeah, I think usually people find a middle ground because everyone, you know, in the department usually are having like really bright ideas and, you know, are really creative, and, you know, just the ideas are fun. So end up just basically choosing one. Talking about production, it reminds me of like Arcane. Arcane must have been like a big production. I really like how they edited the movie. Not the movie, the show. Goodness. There was like a part where Jinx was kind of vibing to the music while fighting. I forgot her name, but while fighting. Having a kid together with someone. I mean, you know, I don't know, calling your OC kids. I guess that's fine, but it's like, I don't know, I wouldn't really call it a kid. Like, imagine like telling someone, oh my gosh, like made a kid. And they're like, oh my gosh, congratulations. And you're like, nah, it's just on a piece of paper, you know, it's just a sketch. And they're like, oh, alright. Yeah, well, then again, like, I don't know, I don't like to call it a kid. Me personally, I don't like calling it a kid. I don't know, like, that word literally, because I didn't grow up knowing that like, how do I say it? I didn't grow up knowing that it can be meaning in art wise until when these few years, basically, because I started seeing artists saying, this is my kid, this is my kid, and then I'm like, wait, huh? And I'm like, oh, you're OC, okay. So I'm like not the most used to that. Yeah. I don't know why people avoid making this part of the eye. I forgot what this is called. But this part of the eye is like super cool. I don't know why people avoid drawing that, especially in anime. Is it like taking out the more complicated realism effect or something? I don't know why they avoid it. It's really good. You don't call your OCs kids either. Yeah, then I don't do that. So that's why, like, in general, I don't really like to call like any like my OC a kid, or like a collaboration with somebody like a kid either. Fun fact, Kid is actually also like a baby goat, I think. That's also a nickname of a baby goat. I did not know that. I don't draw because it's such a small detail of the eye. But like, it looks so cool though. It looks so cool. Like, I get it, like probably not having that small of a detail, but you know, still having it there looks pretty cool. There's like, I don't know, I look into an eye before, like my eye specifically, but and then there's like this little hole there in front if you look very closely, and if you like pull down an eyelid and then there's like a hole there, that's like a breathing technique through the eyes, I think. I don't know, does the eye need to breathe? But yeah, basically that's what I saw, and it's really weird. I know it's like random, but I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know. How did God design us? It's really mysterious. I don't know. Bugs also look so cool as well. It looks like from another world. And me and somebody can agree. Somebody that I know. It's just kind of useless. I mean, I could probably agree with that. Probably not like every wrinkle, but you know, it's kind of less complex than a wrinkle. And to me, the reason why it's not useless is because me personally, I think it looks really cool. But I think Simple Eyes is also its own kind of look, so I guess both goes. Because I really don't see drawing that a lot in the anime realm, unless it's like JoJo or something like that. I'm pretty sure JoJo draws that. I'm pretty sure the JoJo art style draws that. Ghibli Studio does not, though. Wait, no, Ghibli Studio does in some cases. In some cases. Only in some cases. Others, no, not really. I really like this scene of Yuki because I think her face looks really nice. Over here, like this expression. I know it looks like not the most pleasant expression, but how do you say it? The hair, I guess. But yeah, the next thing I kind of want to talk about is like personality traits. Talking about personalities and stuff. Like today I saw like a video about how to talk to people with how they talk and like their personality wise. Not going to be like super complex. There's like 4 categories that people would fall into, and how they speak basically. Yeah, it really depends. Yeah, exactly. There's like not a limit or like a barrier to how you want to design stuff. But yeah, today I saw that video and then I was really curious because I guess some people, they like to be like, especially if you talk to some people, it would feel much harder to communicate with them without being awkward or, you know, making them kind of annoyed or, you know, basically having that awkward silence. And sometimes it's easier because they talk the same way as you. Like, for instance, I talk very kind of almost very professionally, but to some or most people would sound like a robot, like very robotic, very AI AI wise generated or something like that. So, you know, it's really different, and I was like really curious. And it basically tells you how you should talk to each kind of like person, like their personality and how they talk, and basically how you should talk to them in the 4 categories, and also finding your own category to like communicate better. And I also realized that I have a lot of people who are the opposite of me with how they talk, and sometimes like then I realize how I can come off when I'm speaking. And it's just really interesting. For me, I'm the peaceful, calm type. I'm not the most, like, how do I say it, perfectionist. And I like to take things steadily, most of the time. And then there's like the other people who are like really ambitious and get straight to the point. They don't go with any details or anything like that. And then there's like perfectionists, and then they go with logic. And then there's like the enthusiastic person where they're like always energetic and they want things to be as fun as possible. And I guess I met those other three personalities and how they talk basically. And I guess the fun and enthusiastic one is usually a more easier person to kind of deal with. What I had the problem with was the logical one, the perfectionist one, because I'm not the most organized person. Hello. I'm not the most organized. I'm still trying to get there. I think it still is a need, to be honest, because when I was younger, I always used to struggle with like having everything ready, especially to deal with like a deadline and stuff. Deadline always terrifies me, and so I kind of procrastinate even more, which I mean kind of doesn't make sense. But when you think about it, if your brain thinks about like something being kind of like scary, then it would probably say, you know what, we'll just deal with that later. William, I don't know how to say that word. We're just gonna go with William. Let me see. I do not know them actually. Yeah, no, I don't think Oh, I think I seen like a YouTube video about them before. They did like a self-portrait. I was gonna watch their video about the story behind their self-portrait. What about it? What about that artist? But yeah, I thought like that was like such an interesting video. I think the most kind of terrifying, not really terrifying, but like more of like the stressful people that me personally like kind of am scared to face is because like is of like the blue. Well, it had 4 categories, and the blue is like more of the logical one. The logical type of people, the perfectionists, are something that I'm kind of afraid of. Had like Alzheimer's. Huh. Is that so? Because I still haven't watched the video yet about the backstory. I did see their art piece come up though when I searched them up just a while ago. But yeah. I think they, like, that title basically said that their self-portrait had a dark backstory. Perhaps it's like from their Alzheimer's and that they forgot to draw. Well, it felt like that because I searched them up and I saw their art piece kind of deforms a little bit. I saw like 3 art pieces, and the first one seems more refined, and the other ones seem slowly depleting, which is really scary. Imagine art is your career, is something that you love so much, and then one day, boom, you get old you know, you get sick and then Alzheimer's and then you forget to draw. It's kind of scary. To just a shadow. Yeah, forgetting to draw. It's actually, I wouldn't say scary or like a dark backstory. It's more of just like a sad backstory. Chronological order of portraits. Oh, ability. Okay, yeah, I don't know why, but it's suddenly disconnected. What I was trying to say was that, yeah, artists would figure out that there was a possibility of not remembering how to draw. That's really scary. Imagine. Drawing has always been something, you know, I've been doing literally my whole life. To think that, you know, if you get Alzheimer's, you have the chance to forget how to draw is it's really scary, and especially if you worked on it for so long, like worked on that skill for so long. Like, dude. But I guess, I don't know. I guess the beauty of it is that you don't even remember what you used to practice until like you open your old sketchbooks or something, and to be honest, it's like still sad either way. It's like being forced to forget something you love to do. So yeah, I'll definitely check in on that, because I think the video kind of blew up about the explanation of backstories. Talking about Alzheimer's and also like memory and whatnot, I want to like talk about like dopamine. I know like it doesn't really have anything to do with it, but to be honest, I feel like it does, especially with like memory loss and stuff, because I realized whenever, you know, TikTok came out and the shorts came out and Instagram Reels came out, and you know, just like basically scrolling content, type of content came out, and when people get hooked on that, their brain can't literally process the information that they need to remember. Like everything is mostly considered short-term memory now, because you don't really remember the last video that you saw on a short or on TikTok, because it's just constant, especially if you're on there for upon hours, or like even an hour is not really good. So I think that's one of the most scariest things to exist is TikTok. TikTok came out around, I'd say 2020, 2019. Was it 2019 or 2018? It's around that area, I'd say. And TikTok came out and it blew up, and I think that type of just content making was the most deadly, because after watching those videos more than like what 30-20 minutes every single day, I started to really lose kind of time and also reality, and I couldn't remember things as well as before, and that was scary. The thing is, I think the government knows that, and that's why, then again, they would allow that. It's just really scary. Scary stuff. I don't like TikTok. Although I do like post on there, I don't really like to be the most active on there myself. I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to post on TikTok. Musical. Oh yeah, musical. I remember that. Well, musical was, how do I say it? They had this content, usually it's like people, dancing with like the sped up version of themselves. Uh, so it's like usually those content, and I think people, would ultimately probably get bored because everything was the same. Like it wasn't like a vast amount of like, options of the content, I guess. So it's been out for a bit longer than 2020. Yeah, I think musical was considered something like that as well. I didn't really have musical, to be honest, so I didn't know that it was that type of content. All I knew that it was people dancing to sped up songs and speeding themselves up in the song. Yeah. So I think it's slowly just, but to be honest, I think it got worse. I would agree on that. It definitely did get worse. I saw a video one time about, that is true, TikTok started off like that, but it became much more than just that. Then it's like the dances, then it's just foods, and then it's vlogs, and then it's everything. Then you can get paid. Yeah, to be honest, it was. I was in that category of TikTok because everyone in school was like going insane for TikTok. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, come on, I have to dance. We have to make those like weird hand like videos, hand dances or something like that. And it's, I don't know, it's weird. Freaking Alan Walker music, and then like Marshmello, like those song artists basically, and then Katy Perry, and like yeah, it's that era. And then things kind of took a turn, and then Charlie D'Amelio came out. I don't know. I think TikTok, Musically, etc. is just a really bad idea. But something other than that I think is robbing of dopamine, especially for children, is things like Cocomelon. Cocomelon, I think, was made really solely for the purpose of production. What made me believe that is because they have these things that make the kids brainwash a little bit. Not really like super brainwash, but like it consumes dopamine, and basically they have bright colors of the highest contrast to each other on each scene, or not even like most, if not most scenes. And a child's just like watching, and it's just like consumed, it's mesmerized by the screen. And then they have like repeated words, which is like, I guess, not the most typical, but like, I don't know, I think it's just too much. I age out of that. I don't watch Cocomelon. I saw it, I saw what's happening, what's going on, and I don't know, I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I like look at things, I see what's happening. I don't really necessarily watch them myself. I watch a few just to see what they're talking about in the video. And then yeah, I go back to watching horror like explanation stuff, like 80s shows that should never exist or something like that. Oh yeah, talking about this show. Goodness. There's this show that is called Life with Grandpa. It's not out, thank goodness, but if you're not prepared to watch that explanation video, I wouldn't recommend it because it's really traumatizing. I saw that and my mind needed to take a second. Like, it didn't even need to take a second. It needed to take a whole hour because that video was like more than 30 minutes, I think. And it was literally talking about the story behind that show and the people behind that show. And it was people claiming to be Christians that are doing horrible stuff. And I'm talking about horrible stuff as in something that includes children. And we all know where that usually goes. And that traumatized me so much. That video traumatized me. And I'm kind of angry because I'm also in the Christian community. And it made me kind of, like, not even kind of, it made me upset to the stomach to think that they were considered Christians. And like basically committing false teachings and stuff. The whole reason why I clicked on that video, it didn't say like they claim to be Christians. I didn't even know that it was like a claiming to be Christian like cult video. It just said behind this puppet show, or like behind this show, it's a dark story. And so I clicked onto it, and then that's when I knew that it gets crazy. I don't know, the 80s. People say the 80s are safe. Is the 80s safe? Like, it probably was a more innocent time, but then again, I don't know. I don't know. It was really interesting. Like, not in a good way. It was just like, I'm kind of curious on that. How was the 80s back then? Was it like more safe, or I don't know. Maybe the crime rates were always like somewhat mid or low at some point, but then high at some rate. I doubt it was any more innocent. Yeah, to be honest. I don't know, the ads always seem so much more innocent, I guess, but I don't know about real life. Because I remember the ads, they seem to be like nothing too odd or anything like that, you know. Children weren't talking about like face masks or like makeup products on children that much. Like adult makeup products. Or like skincare or something like that. I would say though, some of their children products were kind of dangerous. Like some of these things would probably not be tested before going out and launching them. Dang, I'm late again. To be honest, that's totally fine because the stream's gonna go on for a while. I'm going to at least finish the line art here. But yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by today. If you guys want to leave a like and turn on the notification bell if you have not, really appreciate it. And yes, I'm using like an older liner right now because this specific scene kind of needs that because it's a straight line, as you can see. But yeah, after watching that video, I didn't really finish it because I couldn't take it anymore. I watched like almost all of it, leaving like what, 20-30 minutes, because it was like too much. It was too much. But I saw the comments and it said that the so-called community, Christian community, was continuing, but it's really crazy. moment. Okay, here I am again. There we go. But yeah, as I was saying about dopamine, I think, having the problem with not being so motivated, because that's what I experience um, in most of my days these past few months, or probably a year, I'd say can be caused by doing things that gives you like a short dopamine dosage, but like a lot of dopamine dosage in a short amount of time. And that just takes all of your energy because your brain can only produce so much. Your brain can only produce so much. And then it just drains your battery if you had a battery. So I would say I experienced that on like almost like a daily basis. And the reason why I even researched or like click on the videos that talk about these things, because I think most people don't really care. They just think it's not much of a big deal, or just think, it doesn't really matter a lot. It's just scrolling. It's just taking a break, scrolling, which is fine, I'd say. Not saying for you to like avoid it 100%, because that's just not how we are meant to operate. Like, we don't operate like that. Like, these things exist. We have a phone. We want to spend our time the way we want to spend it, especially on breaks after a long day or work or something. But I'm saying, like, for the people, or like for me personally, using the phone on a day off all day can be really crucial, like really devastating, I'd say, for the next day, because I literally feel out of energy. Or doing anything such that gives you like short dopamine levels. Like, not short dopamine levels, like short time span with a lot of dopamine. And I searched that up, or like clicked on those videos, because I was really tired of opening my sketchbook and end up only sketching like a very few things, only to remember that I used to enjoy drawing so much more and can create these ideas so much more frequently without having to rely on, sleep, and then wait for the next day to generate something in my head. Not AI, by the way. When I say generate, it's not going to be AI. I meant like my head. And it's just really devastating to kind of stare at a paper, because when I experienced this problem, it wasn't just like a day. It was like almost every single day. And I kind of stopped picking up my sketchbook and stopped drawing for, I'd say the longest is like 5 days to a week straight. And the thing is, drawing has been something that I really enjoy doing ever since that I can remember. And to me, losing that spark and that fun with drawing is very scary to me. It was like witnessing the first step of giving up on something that I kind of always have known, or like always have known. Yeah, known. Okay, we'll just say known. Okay. But yeah. That's why I want to watch the video, and I was interested in it. And after realizing what it was about, then today I started like taking steps to that. And I realized like I subconsciously open my phone and go to like reels or shorts. You know, I subconsciously do that, which is like so scary. It is so scary. And yeah, I was like, today I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scrolling again. Also, hello. Yeah, today we're working on a manga page, and I'm talking about like dopamine right now. What I mean by that is like constant scrolling and kind of draining the motivation and the energy for motivation, basically. And talking about like short time span, but a lot of dopamine being consumed. I would say dopamine is what makes you fueled to do something somewhat challenging, or challenging in general, and for you to feel something was accomplished, and that feeling is dopamine. Because you feel happy, you feel joy, basically. But yeah, I really wanted to not feel tired every single day and look at things, you know, so gloomy every single day. So that's why I wanted to understand more how to do that, and to understand like what's robbing me of that. I'm going to do a solo biking, cut and do it slowly. I also don't know what that means, but thanks for letting me know, and have a good day. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I thought that was also an interesting video. I know they always like say journaling is really good for you, but I think I need to like get into that more. Perhaps like journaling is also an art form, but I don't know about journaling. It's like whenever I journal, I find that I usually start ranting and complaining in the journal, and I don't really like that. So I probably have to change the aspect. Okay. I'm saying it right? Okay. Sometimes during the afternoons, and I swear I drank like something with caffeine. I think it's wearing off now. But sometimes I just question what I'm saying. Just a little bit concerning, I'm not gonna lie. Something exciting that something exciting that happened was I finished watching Alice in Borderland season 3. So I find some positives. Exactly. I agree with that. I don't usually practice that whenever I find myself journaling, so I think that's something to practice. I mean, sometimes I do. But yeah. And sometimes I'm just too lazy to journal. So I end up not journaling. But yeah, I watched Alice in Borderland. I binge watched the whole season. The whole 3rd season. And I thought that was amazing because I have been waiting for Alice in Borderland for quite a while now, ever since there's like a 3rd season. I was like, oh my goodness, let's go. But then again, I don't know, the 3rd season, I think the 3rd season was okay. It wasn't the best. I always think the original 1st to 2nd season is usually the best. It's the peak. But yeah, I'm not going to spoil the 3rd season. The 3rd season is basically like explaining how everything works. Like, I'm not actually going to go into detail and spoil it. I'm just going to say, you know, it's the summary. It's basically explaining things, how they work, and what happened, and, you know, what they're going to deal with. Obviously, the games, but yeah. It's for you to find out what's going to happen in the story. I would rate it a 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good show. That's a pretty good season. I'm really happy with how Arisu and Isaki turned out. Really proud of that. Although it was still a sad episode. I really like that, like, that whole season, because I think, like, it was sort of my first time to see a group work so well together. Because usually groups don't really last long in those games. Not really. Love it already. The RPs, thank you. The moderator. I'm so hungry. Wait a second. I don't know why that's doing that. The thing is, this moderator, they, like, I didn't even know that they could do that, but they edited every single word that I did not want to see in chat. So if you, like, type it, like, probably like an inappropriate word or something, it would be banned. And they spent their time just really putting in the effort to every single word. So we should thank the moderator. Okay, go. Alright, I think I'm pretty much done with the line art. But yeah, this is episode 12, page 4. If you guys still haven't checked out the manga yet, you should definitely go check it out. Kudos to edit. Yes, definitely. Everyone give it up for the moderator, because, you know, they really spent a lot of time and effort. And I do, like, you know, think that they're also an inspiration. And if you guys haven't checked their channel out as well, you should definitely do that. But yeah, thank you then again so much for stopping by. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you should definitely do that and turn on the notification bell. I usually stream on Saturdays and Sundays, and usually know what that means. I'm gonna be live streaming tomorrow. So thank you then again, and I will see you next time. Bye.